Nice contact!
Requesting to enter the net at this time. Over.
Hello everyone, it has been a long time since I last posted a video to the channel, but we are back with an update about the Admiral Kuznetsov, the ship that once was considered the crowning achievement for the Blue Water Navy aspirations of the Soviet Union and later the Russian Federation, in the litmus test to prove that they were advancing in their naval prowess. After all, the club of all the countries that have their own aircraft carrier is a very exclusive club with only 8 countries in it. Only 4 countries, in fact, have more than one dedicated aircraft carrier in their fleet: the United States, China, India, and the United Kingdom. Someone is undoubtedly going to say, what about Japan, Australia, Egypt, South Korea, or Italy, or any of the others that have their own flat tops? And that is where I respond about how they are classified. For example, Japan's 2 flat tops are the JDS Hyuga and Issei, which are both classified by the Japanese as helicopter destroyers, not as aircraft carriers. In operations, they work as anti-submarine helicopter carriers, not full aircraft carriers. Although they can, in theory, operate F-35s, they would require significant modifications to do so. Australia, Egypt, and South Korea are slightly different. Their flat tops are amphibious operations platforms that can operate both helicopters and STOL aircraft, but their primary mission is to help amphibious forces in combat operations. Italy is the only hybrid in the bunch. While they do indeed have a full carrier, the second ship, and the largest ship by tonnage in their fleet, is the Trieste, an LHD in the same vein as the ships of Australia, Egypt, and South Korea. Now that we have the history lesson and definition of a carrier out of the way, let us go to the tragedy that is the Admiral Kuznetsov. This ship had to be one of the worst, if not the worst example of an aircraft carrier to be put to sea. The ship was so badly designed, built, and ran that the ship's engines never ran without pouring as much black smoke as coal-burning ships from the times when Russia still had a Tsar. The engines were so unreliable that the ship never traveled without a tug or some other auxiliary ship nearby to tow it to safety. And while the ship could have an air wing of up to 33 Su-33 Sea Flankers and a dozen Ka-27 Helix helicopters on board, it only ever conducted live combat missions during the Aleppo offensives in Syria. The ship traveled to the coast of Syria with only 6 to 8 Su-33s, 4 MiG-29KRs, and an assortment of Ka-52s, Ka-31s, and Ka-27s as well. Analysts theorized that a lack of trained pilots was the reason for the lack of aircraft available on the Kuznetsov. The only combat missions for the Kuznetsov's air wing occurred from November 15, 2016 to December 3, 2016. The day prior to the start, a MiG-29KR crashed after running out of fuel while waiting for an arresting cable to be repaired. The commander chose to keep the aircraft in air instead of rerouting the pilot to a nearby base on land. The combat operations ended after a Su-33 crashed and the pilot was rescued as a result of a failure of the arresting gear to hold the aircraft. The remaining air wing was then diverted to Hamaim Air Base near Latakia, Syria, for the remainder of their deployment. A month later, on January 7, 2017, the Kuznetsov sailed for home to begin a needed refit. Be sure to check out my 2 previous videos on the Kuznetsov here. We also have a current goal to reach 1,000 subscribers, so be sure to hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. In 2018, the floating dry dock that was under the ship sank, causing a crane to fall and put a hole in the flight deck. In 2019, after repairs continued, a fire broke out that killed 2 and injured a dozen more, causing $8 million worth of damage. In June of 2021, it was reported by the shipyard that the ship should complete the refit by 2023. But by November of that year, that finish date was pushed back to 2024. In 2022, the president of the shipyard said the ship would be handed over to the Russian Navy in the first quarter of 2024. But by December of 2022, another fire had broken out, but was reported to be extinguished with no injuries. It was still set to be back with the fleet by 2024. But with the war in Ukraine going badly, Russia made the decision to transfer 1,500 sailors out of a crew of almost 1,700 assigned to the Kuznetsov to combat duties in Ukraine. In July of 2025, with no sign of work progressing, and amid rumors of the ship planned to be scrapped, it now looks as though the Russian Navy has reached a turning point. Bad decisions, mismanagement, and a costly war may have signaled the end of the last aircraft carrier of the Russian fleet. I thank you all for watching, and I will see you on the next video.